Well, hi everyone, welcome back to PhotoshopUser TV. We are brought to you by Kelby1, who bring you, among many things, PhotoshopUser magazine.
I'm gonna do the creepy stare.
Does the creepy stare. That is the current issue right now. It's got a great cover story by Mark Johnson, as well as featured columns by myself, Pete, and all the rest of the guys. Be sure to check that out. Welcome back. I am Corey Barker, one of the Photoshop guys here on PhotoshopUser TV, and this week I am joined by another Photoshop guy.
This guy right here.
This guy right here.
And see, I'm vamping until this shows up right here.
Mr.
Look at that.
Pete Collins of PeteCollins.com.
I just like that it appears I start talking.
It's like magic. He just kind of sprinkles it out. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Corey.
Yeah. How'd everything go?
Everything's been going well.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times? Yeah.
Yep. How are you doing?
Just what? Not too long ago, you did a cool workshop.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Well, thank you.
I'm dealing with it. We'll all be fine.
Yeah, I had a great workshop. I did a kids workshop shoot in Chattanooga. We got another one coming up in Miami. It's kind of a side thing. So anyway.
Good.
If you're into kids photography, check me out. I may be doing a workshop somewhere, someplace, sometime.
If only there was a website where you could find all these cool classes and find really cool photographers and such, but someday there'll be one.
Yeah.
All right, can I kick things off?
Yes, please do.
Yes, please. I'm actually going to do a little something, kind of a little teaser of something I've got coming up next month. Actually, no, we're in the month. It is June. This month, later this month, I'm kicking off a brand new seminar tour. It's the Down and Dirty Master Effects Tour. I'm kicking it off in New Orleans on June 25th. Wanted to kind of give you a little sampling of the kind of things I'm going to be teaching at this seminar. It's really a lot of fun with design and 3D. We're going to talk about some photography stuff and compositing. It's really kind of a whole day of design fun. So what I have here is a text. It's actually the new movie. It's coming up, Maleficent, with Angelina Jolie. I thought it had a really cool text treatment. Now, what is interesting
is you misspelled it.
No. It's malevolent.
Oh, okay.
I know it. But you'll notice a couple of things right away. It's obviously a different word, but it's also the M right here is only half, and that's on purpose, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So wanted to show you how you can really use 3D in Photoshop to achieve more of a two-dimensional effect. What I mean is we're not going to be looking at it at a certain angle like that. We're using the properties of 3D to achieve a really cool metallic effect here. So I've got the paths all drawn, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a duplicate of my background layer because I want to keep the background black, but I need a layer filled with black, so it'll just make it easy to just make a duplicate of the background. Now with that path active, I'm going to go to the 3D menu and go down here and choose New 3D Extrusion from Selected Path. Now, if I turn the background layer off, you can see it goes ahead and extrudes the text and everything, looking pretty good. However, I want to look at it straight on like it was, and I don't need that extrusion depth that I have it at, or the default that it's set at. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Layer 1 here in the 3D panel. And let's open up the Properties panel. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that extrusion depth to a very low number. Let's do like 100. So it's practically, just really, really thin. So we'll zoom in here so we can see what's going on. So now, I want to go into the Properties panel. I've still got that Layer 1 selected. I'm going to jump over here and go to the third tab over, which is the Cap section. Now I'm going to add a little bit of a bevel to this. Let's do about 7. You know what? Let's go with 10. So it adds a little bit of a beveled edge on that. Now I'm also going to go down here to the Inflate section and use the strength and just push it out a little bit. And you'll notice it tends to inflate the front face of that text. It's kind of hard to tell because it's a dark color, but if you kind of zoom in here, you can see it's bulging that front face of the text out and increasing the surface area, so we have a larger area to reflect elements on. And if I just kind of rotate it here, you can kind of see that, where it's kind of pushing that out. See that? Sort of? It'll make sense in a moment. All right, so I'm going to zoom out. Now, I've got the 3D properties in place. Now I want to go and select the individual elements, like in this case, the Layer 1 front inflation material. I'm going to set the shine and reflection to 100%. Same thing with the bevel. Each one of these mesh properties are broken down into individual elements here in this list, so we need to go and adjust each one. So I'm just putting their shine and reflection at 100% for all three of these. The front face, the bevel, and those sides that we see a little bit of. Now, all those reflection properties in place, I'm going to jump over to the Environment section. Now I'm going to actually turn on my background layer. So you can kind of see the text has got some volume to it. It's still dark. Now in the Environment Properties, and this is something I'm using quite a bit, is the IBL, which is the Image-Based Light. And this allows you to basically wrap an environment around the object. And if it's got reflective properties assigned to it, it will reflect that element. So if I go into this little folder icon and choose Load Texture, and it really doesn't matter the image itself. It can be practically anything. In fact, in this case, I'm just going to use this image here, which is a simple field with the sky. It's got a nice range of tones in it, and that's why I like it. So go ahead and do that, click Open, and once I do that, you'll see there's my text now reflecting that environment. Now, the cool thing is when you see it, you're like, well, I'm not liking the way it's looking on the text right now. If you simply grab the 3D Rotate tool, you can actually click and rotate that element around and get that truly metallic looking look on it. See how it's kind of interacting in there? So it's like the text is sitting in that environment. You're moving the environment around and not moving the text around. So I get it more like that, and then I just do a quick render. And then I will get really cool metallic text. Now I'm still looking at it as 2D, and in the final design it would be 2D, but we're using 3D to achieve an effect that you would probably have to fake using layer styles. But now with 3D you can actually get actual beveled, chiseled text rather than faking it using layer styles.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about all the steps it would take to get that to look right, and you'd have to do it in one 2D setting, and if you ever wanted to adjust it or whatever, you would have to recreate it all.
Now, just one final thing, and I'll just real quick. Remember that M that is only half of it over there? I'm going to go to 3D and choose Split Extrusion. Now what that's going to do is separate each individual letter now so that I can rotate them and change them individually. If I select that half of the M, jump over here to the 3D menu and just choose Instance Object. Instead of making a duplicate and remerging, you can do an Instance Object now, and I can just go ahead and grab it and then just rotate it. We'll do it and then slide it over. Now we're looking at the back of that letter, so all I have to do is jump over down here to where that letter is. There it is highlighted. Just like I did with the other properties, we go over here. In that cap section at the very top, there is a sides. We'll do front and back on that. And you'll notice it gets that same bulge. And all you have to do is go to that back inflation and that back bevel and set the shine and reflection to 100%. And now everything is great. And now you've got your cool theatrical text utilizing 3D. So just another way to look at 3D, and it's something we're going to cover, of course, in the seminar, is how you can utilize 3D in your Photoshop design workflow, and it's got a lot of cool tricks to be able to do that. So.
Well, yeah, as a designer, seeing the possibilities of that and how much time, if you're ever having to work on something like that in 2D, how much you got to craft it and being able to do it so much faster in 3D. Absolutely. That's awesome.
So, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back. I know Pete's got some cool tricks he's going to show us, and we've got so many other things to talk about. So stay with us right here on Photoshop User TV.
All right, well, we're back, guys, and the great news is that after Corey showed that great tip, it reminded us that, well, we knew already, but coming up June 25th, that's less than 2 weeks, you can take part in his first tour of this great stuff. It's in New Orleans, or Norlands, however you want to say it, Norlands. June 25th, and Corey, tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. It's actually kind of a revamp of the tour I did a few years ago, the Down and Dirty Tricks tour, but this is kind of born out of the newest book, which is right here. This is the new Down and Dirty Tricks for Designers Volume 2. There's a lot of great stuff in here. So this tour is for pretty much anyone. Anyone that wants to do, I've always said this, it's anyone who wants to do really cool stuff in Photoshop, whether you're a photographer or a designer or artist or just a hobbyist. We're going to be talking about all kinds of cool things. Everything from, you know, compositing techniques or basics, and then all the way to 3D and type effects and stuff like that. It's a fun day. It's a very educational day. Be prepared to just get your head just crammed.
Well, and the whole thing is even if you can't don't feel like you're at this level or whatever where you're going to be working on 3D and all this right now, the inspiration alone is worth the ticket because you'll see what can be done, and that'll get you playing around and get in there. It's worth it just for the inspiration alone. So make sure you check it out. And
I couldn't be more, I just want to say, I couldn't be more excited about it kicking off in New Orleans because I actually grew up near New Orleans. So
that explains the flavor.
Got a few family and friends that might be stopping by. But,
Nice.
But as you said, be sure to check it out. It's kelby1.com/live. Or is it live events or live? I don't know. Seminars. Go to kelby1.com and just click on the tab. You'll see the live button right there. There it is right there. So kelby1.com/live. There you go. And be sure to check that out. And I've got other dates coming up as well. I've got Miami and Austin, Texas, I believe, got coming up in August. So, so if you're in those areas, be sure and check that out very soon. Cool. With that, we're going to move right along here. Pete's got a little something that he's going to show us. I see children photography.
I see children.
I see an all cute moment coming.
Hopefully. Well, what this is if you take a look at my screen, this is oftentimes you'll get a shot that you like, but you wish it was cropped differently or you want to do something else to it. And so I was playing around with this. I did a kids workshop a couple weeks ago in Chattanooga, and this was a shot of this precious little girl, but I can't remember what she was playing with. She was holding something like a seed or something. And I really wanted to do something with this image, but the problem is the way I'd shot it and cropped it, it was kind of funky. So I said, well, the good news is I know how to use Photoshop. So what I'm going to do is try to create a better background for this that would work. And so what I did is I simply came in here and I decided I wanted to use content-aware fill to see if I can extend the background because it's really kind of blurred out. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to do fill, use content aware. The shortcut for bringing up the fill dialog is Shift Delete, and I choose content aware. And even though I'm over here in a blank area, if Photoshop cooperates on TV like it should, what's going to happen is it's going to start to build out that area, taking the background area and throwing it over.
That is how it's. Sometimes it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, and this is part of the fun and part of the danger of Photoshop. Is like, will it? Oh, good. It only gave me one little part of the hand that's in there because that's exactly what I needed Photoshop to do. The good news is I can just simply come in, and that's going to be a lot faster, and it should knock that out of there.
And because of the depth of field and the out of focus elements, it actually blends a little bit easier.
Right, and a lot of people don't realize that they can take the content aware and they can start building out new blank areas. And I'm going to let that crank through for one more time, and then I was going to repeat that up top. But just like a good baking show, I'm not going to just leave it to chance right now because I have one that's actually done. And you see, actually, that's not a bad job right there.
No, it's really not. And it's good that you're doing it in sections like that. Whereas a lot of people just want
try to do it in one
full force approach and do the whole thing at once, and you just get a chaotic mess then. But doing it pieces like that certainly works. And
usually think about what kind of background you have to work with to feed off of. Actually, if you wanted to, and this was going to be my next thing, is if I really want to make sure I didn't get funkiness in there, I would do something like that. I actually first took her out with content aware and then built it out that way. And so it was just one quick lasso tool around, knocked her out, and then I have this background here. So that's only part of the tip. The next part of the tip is once I get it all the way, let's get it back to here, and I'm just going to add that in the background. And that's going to drive me crazy, so real quick, I'm going to do this. Y'all going to have to bear with me. I'm just going to hit return, and let's let that fill in there. So once you get the background, everything how you like, don't forget now, if you're working with Photoshop CC, you are able to now go in and apply Camera Raw as a filter. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image, and I'm going to take and go up here to filter. And now, because everything's together, I can come in, and if I don't like my temperature setting on this, or if the highlights are blown out too much, I can really come in and make some global changes to everything once I'm done. I'm just going to cancel out there. But that's kind of where I get to here. And now I can add a couple extra little things. Like I like how it's looking, but what I want to do is I want to be able to give it a little more softer feel to it. So one of my favorite things is, once again, I use these all the time, is go to my blur gallery, come in here, And what I usually do if I'm going to use the tilt shift is I try to take in consideration the angle of the body, where they're looking. And for some reason, I just think it works a little bit better if I drag these. These are the transition lines of the blur, and now I can raise it up or raise it down. But once I get it kind of how I like it, what that's going to do is blur in that background. And if there are any little goobers caused by the content aware or whatever, that's going to help settle those down. And then finally, I've got this great background that I can do whatever I want to it, bring in other elements. Or if you're like me and like to draw, you can do something like that and just you've created a whole new background that you can now interpret with whatever you want to create a whole new scene in there. And so it turns it from a lovely little shot to a mystical little shot, and it's just simply by incorporating all the stuff that you can do in Photoshop to have some fun.
It's a fairy tale.
And so that's kind of where I went with this image, and I was like, I like the image, but it was kind of constrained and in the corner, and I wish I had more. And so I just built it out and created a new environment and was able to play with it so much more, all because of Photoshop.
I know. I actually noticed you've been doing a lot of these lately. There's that one you did. And if you checked out Pete's stuff on Facebook and such, he did one with your daughter, I believe.
Yeah, I've started to do these with a bunch of kids.
Did these like angel wings on it and everything like that. It's a really cool idea of just adding a little something to a photo. So.
Well, because one of the things that I teach in my workshops is all about interaction with the kids and getting those real expressions and stuff with the kids. And most of the time, kids are playing and living in fantasy worlds, so you can kind of incorporate, she's playing, well then almost you're acknowledging the whole imagination of the kid by bringing some of this in. So I'm doing a whole series of these, and I just wanted to show you some of the ways that I do it. So
fantastic.
There you go.
Great. Good stuff. All right, cool. We are running very short on time, so we'll have to cover a couple more things. So we do have another Peach Pit e-deal. You can go to peachpit.com/Kelby1 and see the current new Peach Pit. I see Peach Pit.
I know, it's hard.
I don't know why. Peach Pit e-deal. Be sure to use the coupon code Kelby1 to get a great offer on that. Now, one last thing before we do our giveaway is, of course, we have to mention Photoshop World. Photoshop World is only a few months away, and we've got a whole new website and new instructors this time around going along. So be sure to check it out, photoshopworld.com, for all the new and great things we've got coming up for Las Vegas. A handful of new instructors, a lot of the old favorites are going to be there, so be sure to check that out.
Definitely worth checking out. We've got a lot of great people signed up, ready to go. They're excited about it. We're excited about it. It's a great time. Yeah. Speaking of great times, how about time to give away something?
Giveaway. We do have another book to give away this time. What do we have?
Well, Corey, it's Presentation Zen Design, a simple visual approach to presenting in today's world by Gar Reynolds. And if you're into design, Corey, you might know a thing or two about design, but
yes,
do you have the Zen?
The Presentation Zen series are actually really
they're
great.
They're beautiful books, a lot of great stuff in there. We're going to give this away. Corey, how do they do it?
How do they do it indeed? They go to our contest page. It's at Kelby1, and there it is right there, kelby1.com/contest or /webcast/contest. Go into the menu, choose Photoshop User TV, and your name and everything like that. Now, also, in addition to winning the book, the Presentation to Zen book, which is awesome, but even more awesome than that, you will win a ticket to my seminar, my Down and Dirty Master Effects seminar in New Orleans. There you have it right there. You'll even get that cool all-access badge. Isn't that cool? That's actually the first time I'm seeing that.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool badge. Yeah, I sure hope they have it.
I got pretty slick. So, if you enter, you will be entering the chance to win not just the book, but also a ticket to that very seminar date. So be sure to check that out. Once again, thank you guys for joining us here on Photoshop User TV. Pete, thank you.
Very cool. Corey. It's good to be here.
Children's stuff. Enjoy it. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye, guys.